This is the 2005 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony, honoring this year's rock and roll legends. The Pretenders. Buddy Guy. The OJs. Percy Sledge. And U2. With additional performances and appearances by Jerry Lee Lewis, Bo Diddley, Neil Young, B.B. King, Eric Clapton, Justin Timberlake, Rod Stewart, and Bruce Springsteen. Here with the first induction of the 2005 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony, Justin Timberlake.
For the love of money, people will steal from their mother. For the love of money, people will rob their own brother. People all over the world join hands, start a love train. There's always been a message in music, and few musical messengers have ever delivered the word as powerfully and as soulfully as tonight's honorees. I'm here tonight because anyone who has ever written, produced, or performed something soulful stands in the shadows of true giants, like these monumental stars of the Philadelphia international sound. I'm talking about, that's right, I'm talking about some remarkable men who took the whole world on that love train. I'm talking about the one, the only, the OJs.
What they do, they smile in your face. All the time they want to take your place, the backstabbers.
The great Eddie Levert and Walter Williams have been pals since they were 6 years old. These two friends blended their amazing voices on everything from gospel to doo-wop. Eventually, they met up with other singers like the late great William Powell, Bobby Massey, and Bill Iles. Now early on, this young vocal group was known as the Triumphs, but truthfully, their triumph took a little while to come. Eventually, they renamed themselves after Eddie OJ, a Cleveland DJ who was one of the first to believe in them. And so, the OJs were born.
Some people got to have it. Hey, hey, hey. Some people really need it.
The OJs would record for a few different labels in the 60s, but their love train really got rolling in 1968 when they were playing the little place down the street called Harlem's Apollo Theater. Two young, gifted songwriters and producers by the names of Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff just happened to be in the crowd that night. And that was the beginning of a beautiful partnership that produced some of the most exciting and enduring soul music ever made.
She used to be my girl, my girl. She used to be my girl.
The OJs racked up nearly 30 hits during the 70s, along with songs like Backstabbers, 992 Arguments, Love Train, For the Love of Money, I Love Music, the list goes on and on. But the OJ's real triumph was measured not just in platinum and gold, but in the way the music made you think, made you feel, made you dance, and even made you make love, all at the same time. The OJs made stunning music that mattered. And even when they lost their friend, William Powell, in 1978, Eddie and Walter were joined by Sammy Strain and kept the music and the message alive. The OJ's influence can be heard not just in the music of the next generation, but it can also be heard anytime that a group of guys, black, white, young, or old, blend their voices together into something much bigger than themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, as we induct this legendary group into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we are honored to smile in their face, and we all know damn well nobody will ever take their place. Get your butts out of your seats for the OJs.
on behalf of our father, William Powell. We want to thank everyone, all of the fans, our mother, Maddie, our friends, our family, and we just want to say thank you, and God bless.
After 44 years in this extremely mean business, finally, we're here. And it's been a terrific journey. I wouldn't take anything for it. And our fans, incredible fans, they've been with us all the way. So thank you very much, and God bless.
More than anything, it was an honor and a pleasure when Ed and Walt invited me to become a part of the OJ family tree of music and life, to meet Gamble and Huff, and along the way, Teddy Randazzo, and Mr. Charlie Atkins, who was our mentor and choreographer, Mr. Richard Barrett. And I just want to say, wherever, some of them are not here now, but wherever you are, thank you, and you helped me. And also to these two gentlemen, I love them very much. Thank you very much, guys.
My name is Bobby Massey. I'd like to thank Walter and Eddie for keeping it going. It is just an honor to be here, to have this in my hand. When I look out and see everybody, the only thing maybe that I wish that I could have done, I wish I would have stayed around and been part of everything that they've done since 1972 when I quit singing. But I can say that I really enjoyed the 58 through 72, because it was a lot of hard work, and I loved it, and I just want to thank all of y'all for putting this in here.
Well, hello. How's everybody? This is the show. Y'all know this, right? The same breath with people like B.B. King, with people like U2, the Beatles. You know, this is a great honor. And hey, look, you're with the best. Hey, now I'm one of them. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Silvio Dante.
In my life, there have been three Franks. Frank Costello, a man of entrepreneurial pursuits. Frank Sinatra, the greatest singer that has ever lived and ever will live. And the godfather of rock and roll, Frank Barsalona. 30 years of prosperity is due to Frank Barcelona's vision. Let's have the band be good live first. And all of a sudden, there was a future. And he proved his point over and over with groups like The Who, and the Jeff Beck Group, and Led Zeppelin, and the Jimi Hendrix Experience, and Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, and Ramones, and the Clash, and the Pretenders, and U2, and Van Halen, and on and on and on and on. Without Frank, none of you would be in this room tonight.
When I started Primitive Talent, the old music industry was still fighting against rock and roll. And the question was, will it survive? I knew it would survive. And it will survive forever. It's been a wonderful and a great ride. Thank you.
Coming up on the 2005 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony, Hall of Famer Neil Young inducts The Pretenders.
This is one of the greatest rock and roll bands that ever lived.
Plus, performances by an amazing lineup of Hall of Fame greats. And later, U2 and Bruce Springsteen performed together for the first time ever.
I'm looking for the boss.
The 2005 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony is brought to you by Pantene Pro V. That's the beauty of health. Toyota. Choose any direction as long as it's moving forward. Diet Pepsi. Light, crisp, refreshing. And by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun.
I've been asked to say a few words about the Pretenders, an exciting band made up of three talented English boys. Martin Chambers, the drummer, James Honeyman Scott, a super guitar player, Pete Farndon, and an amazing Yankee girl, Chrissy Hine.
You know, I was very punkified. Jimmy Scott, he loved the Beach Boys and ABBA. When we played together, it was just like, it was this Pretender sound, and we both loved it so much that there was, like, no denying it. You get the impression that I'm probably the female vocalist with a sort of male backup band type thing. That's not the way this band is structured, you know.
Look, fellas, here's my lyrics, and, you know, if you just write something and, you know, something, you know, really rock and roll.
The Pretenders.
We had to do something about Pete, as he now really was a junkie. He was going off the rails, and he was just pushing us and testing us. I mean, it was just awful for me firing Pete. 2 days after we fired Pete, I get a phone call from Dave Hill, our manager, and he said, I've got some very strange news. Jimmy's dead. That was really kind of the end of the Pretenders.
Well, you know, what are we going to do? I certainly wasn't going to stop.
Pete and Jim dying, and me having a baby, and us with a new band and everything. And you don't just let it crawl into the corner and die. I do try to cater to an audience. The audience I try to cater to is the audience that I think is me. What I might not want to reveal is exactly what I, as an audience, might want to see. The reason that I've been successful is I surround myself with people that I think are really, really good at what they do.
Come on now, in the middle of the road, yeah!
I've got a vision. And whenever I do a song, I just imagine it through Jimmy's ears, because I just stay true to knowing what Jimmy would have done.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Pretenders.
To induct the Pretenders, please welcome Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Neil Young.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a great honor to be here, and I enjoy your company every time I come here. See you people all the time. It's great. I'm running for office. No, I'm very honored and very happy to be here to talk a little bit about the Pretenders, who had a great influence on myself and my band, Crazy Horse. Yeah, when we couldn't figure out what to do, we used to put on those records and listen to them and go, hey, they got, what's she look like? You know? This was 1980 or something, and this is one of the greatest rock and roll bands that ever lived. They went through all of the heartache that rock and roll was built on. They lost 2 key members, and they never gave up. They kept going, and nothing would stop them. And Chrissy she's a rock and roll woman. She's got it in her heart. She's going to be rock until she drops, and I love her. And Martin, a great drummer that's always been there with her. And those of you who are in bands and who front bands know what it's like to have a great drummer who's always with you, and what a great feeling that is, and to have these people with you. So, you know, sometimes in these bands, we make so much out of the lead singer. You know, we make the lead singer the big thing. And actually, our business, we try to destroy some bands by pulling these people out and trying to make them something they aren't. They're really part of a rock and roll band. And I'm sure that Chrissy had a lot of people trying to get her to take a step somewhere else, but she never did, because she's a true rocker and playing with a great rock and roll band, and she just can't get enough, and you can tell every time she walks on the stage. I'm very proud just to know her, and it's my pleasure and distinct honor to induct the Pretenders into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I'll do for a handsome man.
Now the reason we're here as man and woman is to love each other, take care of each other. When love walks in the room, everybody stand up. Oh, it's good. Like Stevie Nicks.
The Pretenders have looked like a tribute band for the last 20 years, and actually they are a tribute band, and we're paying tribute tonight to James Honeyman Scott and Pete Farndon, without whom we wouldn't be here. And on the other hand, without us, they might have been here, but that's the way it works in rock and roll. But all I really have to say about it is 2 notes. Boom, 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 boom. Never change it. Just keep moving, but never change.
Talk to me, darling. Talk to me, darling. Talk to me, darling. All right.
Coming up on the 2005 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony.
Back away from the drummer.
The Pretenders take over the stage with a little help from rock legend Neil Young. And blues greats B.B. King, Buddy Guy, and Eric Clapton perform together for the first time in years.
Guy walks into the house carrying a duck under his arm, walks up to his wife, and he says, I just wanted you to see the pig I've been feeding. She says, that's not a pig, it's a duck. I wasn't talking to you, I was talking to the duck.
The 2005 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony is brought to you by Southern Comfort. Wherever the night takes you, please drink responsibly. Citi, credit card and financial tools to help you live richly. State Farm, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
no train station. There was no downtown. South Howard had disappeared. All my favorite places. My city had been pulled down. They refused to park in spaces. Hey, oh, where to go?
I'd like to thank a lot more people, especially the drummers who sat in my seat, kept it warm. Thank you very much.
Martin was playing crap for a while, and I had to stay true to the music, so I'd like to thank Blair Cunningham for filling in for a few years.
Good.
Martin could be excused for being part of this Sonny and Cher show.
Back away from the drummer.
And to Robbie McIntosh and Malcolm Foster.
Yes, sir.
Another great lineup of ours. Bernie Worrell, T.M. Stevens.
There's a lot of people to thank, and get on with it.
Like a wind through the trees. Say, hey, oh, where to go?
Hobson and Adam Seymour for playing for the last 15 years and making my life more fun than it really should be. And I'd like to thank Chrissy especially for making my life really interesting. Thank you, darling. Thank you.
To Ohio, but my pretty countryside had been pegged down the middle by a government that had no pride. The farms of Ohio had been replaced by shopping malls, and music filled there. Seneca, Tuckahoga, Tulsa. I said, hey, oh, where to go, Ohio? Yeah, where to go, Ohio? is real precious. You know I'm bricks, 'cause I'm precious. Baby, wanna, oh, you're so East 55th and Newport Avenue was real precious. Hotels still ain't coming into view. How precious. It's a pity that you bruised my hip, 'cause I'm precious. You should let your manners slip, you too. Gonna have a baby. He wants to do it. Yeah, we do it on there. I was feeling kind of ethereal, 'cause I'm precious. I had my eye on your imperial, it's so precious. Now Howard the Duck and Mr. Stress both stayed precious. Trapped in a world that they never made. But not me, baby, I'm too precious at a if they wanna
Coming up, Eric Clapton and B.B. King induct Buddy Guy.
I remember meeting you with Muddy. You was with Muddy.
I was in Chicago.
Yes, when I met you.
And later, U2 takes the stage.
What are we in? Spinal Tap here? What's all this smoke happening?
At the 2005 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony. Go to VH1.com to find out more about the 2005 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame honorees and see photos and video footage from this year's show.
Buddy Guy was psychedelic before anybody knew what psychedelic meant. He's stone cold blues, and he's a master showman.
My dream was to watch the Giants play the music like it's supposed to be played, which was Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Water, T-Bone Walker, whoever I could see there in Chicago, because I had got word that if you go there, you'd get a chance to see God knows who, because they would sooner or later come to Chicago.
I'm drinking TNT, I'm smoking dynamite. You know I hope some screwball start a fight.
We all got it from somebody, but the people we got it from didn't make a name for themselves like we did. My first television show was with Son House in 1969. We all migrated to Chicago, Houston, or LA or somewhere to record. But if you would go back and get our background, we all lived in those little one-room country shacks somewhere down there.
You know I'm your hoochie coochie man. Everybody knows that I'm here.
One of my great heroes, Buddy Guy, put him on the stage with me. It's a whole chemical thing happens.
Well, I was in chess, and every time I would turn that amp up and play a lick like that, they would call me and say, look, nobody want to hear that noise. Just get out of here with that. When the word came to me that I had been inducted, a lot of the great people should have had that before I got it. I stole everything I got from those people. Every award that I received in their honor.
To induct Buddy Guy, please welcome Rock and Roll Hall of Famers B.B. King and Eric Clapton.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. They usually reserve the place for the oldest and the ugliest to speak first.
Go ahead.
I don't have a prepared statement about George Guy. Oh yeah, Buddy Guy, excuse me. Buddy Guy has been a friend for a long, long time. He's been inspiration for many, many, many people, including myself. I never was as handsome as he is. And I think Lucille liked him better. Anyway, I'd like to say, to have known him as many years as I have, I should say. I don't want to say how long because I hope to get married again one day, and ladies should know how old I really is. Then I won't make it. But I've known him for a long time. When I first met Buddy Guy, I met him with what I call the godfather of the blues. And you blues lovers should remember the great Muddy Waters. When it comes to being a great person, Buddy Guy is that. When it comes to be a great guitarist, Buddy Guy is that. He's a good friend. The #1 rock and roll guitarist today is my friend right behind me, the handsome one. And thank you. And he played blues better than me and most of the others. But I think that Buddy Guy is very close second to him. My friend, rock and roll.
You're getting me in a lot of trouble. You done? You done? B.B. King. Good evening. It's a great honor and a privilege to be able to induct this distinguished gentleman into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. A man who means so much to me personally and who as a musician has given so much to us all. It also provides me with the perfect opportunity to say thank you for all the inspiration he's given me over the years. His style of playing and singing and his love and concern for the welfare of the blues has been a great example for me and countless others who have the good fortune to share this road. Experience of Buddy's power was when I brought a record called Folk Festival of the Blues, a live album recorded in Chicago in the 60s. And in the company of such great artists as Otis Spann, Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, and Sonny Boy Williamson, Buddy did far more than just hold his own. With the greatest respect to all those fabulous masters, in my humble opinion, he stole the show.
bunching. I can't win, 'cause I don't have a damn thing to lose. Stop at my daughter's house.
I gradually discovered a wealth of recordings, mostly on chess records and mostly singles like Stone Crazy, My Time After a While, and First Time I Met the Blues. Serious blues anthems with incredible productions, which would often feature various members of the Chess House Band, great players like Little Walter, the Myers Brothers, and Willie Dixon.
Look, I want to play this so funky you can smell it. Hold on.
He was a younger blues musician in a field totally dominated by much older guys. And on that level alone, I could identify with him completely. And I remember in '65 when he first came to England and played at the Marquee Club, and I was finally able to see him in person. In the flesh, he was earth-shattering. His style on every level was fantastic, doing all the things we would later come to associate with Jimi Hendrix, playing with his teeth, his feet, and behind his head. He brought the house crashing down. But beyond all that, it was his actual playing that got through to me. With only a drummer and a bass player behind him, he gave a thundering performance, delivering the blues with finesse and passion in a way I had never heard before. And incidentally started me thinking that a trio was a pretty good lineup for a band.
You damn right.
All in all, everything about that night was deeply profound for me. The blues was clearly alive and well, and it looked good too, for as well as being the real thing, musically, Buddy was a star. His suit, his hair, his moves, his sunburst strat, everything was sharp and perfect. He was for me what Elvis probably was for most other people. My course was set and he was my pilot. Since those early days, Buddy has become the hardcore reality of what the blues is supposed to sound and look like. Not, I think, through any calculated need on his part to be accepted, simply because that's the way it is and that's the way he is. Buddy has been solid in the Harlem Blues for more than 50 years, touring, recording, and spreading the word. And somewhere in that journey, we became friends. Whenever I was in Chicago, I would drop by the club and play, or just hang out and shoot the breeze. Well, over the years, we played many, many times together, but it seems like I always forget how powerful and soulful his thing is until he cranks it up yet again, and then it all comes back to me. And I go straight back to the Marquee Club, my jaw drops, and I become a helpless, ecstatic teenager all over again. For that and for keeping it true, I thank you, Buddy Guy, and I welcome you to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That's a Muddy Waters song saying, I got a black cat bone, it's black, I got it. Look at this. To be standing here and got to pick up a guitar and get between these two guys and play, man, you got to be me to know how I feel tonight, man. You know, This is no small task, and I'm just happy. And I want to thank Mr. West and Silvertone and the record company for putting up with my shit. I remember, Eric, when we came out of Australia and you had a rock awards here in New York, and we had Bo Diddley, and somebody asked him what was the blues. And he said, Mr. Donald Trump got the blues. I said to myself, wait a minute, you got to explain this. He said, yeah, he got the blues because he got to keep it, and I got the blues because I got to get it. And that's been sticking with me ever since. If you don't think you got the blues, just keep living. And if you don't think you get drunk, just keep drinking what you're drinking and thinking what you're thinking. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to play a little blues for you, all right?
Coming up on the 2005 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony, Buddy Guy plays the blues with fellow Hall of Famers Eric Clapton and B.B. King. And Hall of Famer Rod Stewart inducts
the amazing Percy Sledge into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Flame? What the f am I talking about?
Change my mind. Well, now, baby, when you walk, you know you shake like a willow tree. I said, baby, when you walk, you know you shake like a willow tree. Well, a girl like you won't wanna let you make a fool of me. Play a little song. I got to talk a little bit now. Ladies and gentlemen, but between these two guys, I might play this all night. I don't feel like I should stop. I should give you all I own just for a little bit of your love. I give you all I own just for a little bit of your love. Since I met you, baby, that's all I've been living for. I say, B.B. King, man, play that thing for me. I say, Eric Clapton, man, won't you hit a sweet note for me? I could play it all night, and I would stand right here and be so happy. Well, what you want? She shake like a willow tree. I said, when my baby walks, she shakes like a willow tree. She's the kind of lady I know can make a fool out of me.
And right now, here's a guy with 2 big hit records in a row, Mr. Percy Sledge.
It was just really a miracle the way that song came about. The night that I made the song up on stage, I was just lonely that night about a friend of mine that had left me for another guy. And so I just started hollering out, when a man loves a woman, and his very last dime. We cut the song in May of 1965. When I got through singing that song, those guys just hollered out, said, we got it, we got it. I didn't even realize what I had done. I call all my other songs the children to when a man loves a woman, like Take Time to Know Her and Warm and Tender Love.
Let me wrap you in my warm and tender love.
On the outdoor patio of this A-framed restaurant, here's Percy Sledge.
Give me love, pretty baby, like it's going out of style.
I don't think many people in the recording industry can have a hit in the 60s, the 70s, and a #1 in the 80s with the same superb song. It's Percy Sledge.
God has been so wonderful to me. He just seemed to open doors for me. So that's what keeps me going and being happy on stage.
To induct Percy Sledge, please welcome Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, Rod Stewart.
I can't imagine what I could say to tell you anything more about the brilliant Percy Sledge other than what you've just seen. When a Man Loves a Woman is one of the best performances I've ever heard, and I'm sure you've ever heard. And he sings that song with great gusto. Is anything possible when that man sings? It certainly is. I'm humbled and honored to have the great pleasure to induct the amazing Percy Sledge into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Flame? What the f am I talking about? Percy, come up here, mate. He's wearing a great suit. Percy Sledge.
When a man loves a woman, can't keep his mind on nothing else. He'll change the world for the good things found. If she is bad, he can't see it. She can do no wrong. Turn his back on his best friend further down. When a man loves a woman, spending every last dime, trying to hold on to what he needs. He give up all his comfort, sleep out in the rain. If she said that's the way it ought to be. Well, this man loves woman. I gave you everything I had. Trying to hold on to your high-class love. Baby, please don't treat me bad. When a man loves a woman,
Born in a little town called Leeton, Alabama, way back in the year of 1940. 10 years old, singing my songs in the fields, picking, chopping cotton. And my boss man tells me one day, he said, Percy, he said, that voice that you're using now coming out of your throat, the whole world is going to hear it one day. I had never in my life thought that I could go so far from that one sentence.
Yes, I love you, yes, my rose. Lord knows that I love you.
The most important person in my life,
Yes,
I never forget. The first time I met her, she grabbed me by the ear and said, now you belongs to me. But that's my lovely wife, Miss Rosa Sledge. Make so many moves in life. He can do so many great things in life. But without a great woman, he ain't getting nowhere. My lovely wife, Rosa, is my life, my heart, my stone, my backbone, my brain, and ain't gonna say nothing else. I thank all of my fans of the world for being so wonderful to me and loving my songs and my work. God knows that I sung my songs so deeply from my heart, from all the love that I could give to you. And now look at me today with some of the most greatest people in the world. I hang my picture next to them.
because of you.
Please welcome Ice-T.
I was introduced to Seymour Stein. My friend said, Seymour Stein likes your record. I'm like, who is Seymour Stein? They're like, he signed Madonna. I'm like, oh, that's who Seymour Stein is, right? Right now, we're in a world where artists are taught and trained to say nothing. Seymour was looking for somebody who had something to say. When you take the Ramones, Madonna, you take Talking Heads, Depeche Mode, Ministry, Ice-T, you put them together, it doesn't seem like they go together, but they do. They all had an edge. Seymour Stein is a real rock and roll cat. I am very proud and honored to induct into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Seymour Stein.
Or El Hanemon. Why not sing my Haftorah? It feels like my bar mitzvah, and I feel like I felt when I was 13. On April 18th, I turned 63, and that will make 50 years in the music business. No gold watches, please. While I don't look the same, I still feel the same. Rock and roll keeps me young in spirit, and my passion for music is the same as it was when I was 13. I'm deeply honored for my induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Thank you all for sharing this with me.
Coming up on the 2005 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony, Bruce Springsteen inducts U2.
They're the keepers of some of the most beautiful sonic architecture in rock and roll.
And a rare appearance by two of rock's founding fathers.
Ain't no music now. I don't know what this is now.
Want to learn more about this year's Hall of Famers? VH1.com has videos and photos from this year's show and info on your favorite rock legends.
They say that old folks that we can't rap. I ain't taking no down, but I can really do the thing both day and night. I guarantee you, baby, I can do what's right. Can you handle it?
When we started out, we were 17, 18 years old when we joined U2.
Fresh-faced young Irish boys who arrived kind of to take on the world. How outrageous that idea was that we could be a big band.
There'd never been a band that had made it out of Dublin. It was us against the world. It was an impossible thing to do.
We're calling U2. We're from Dublin. Someday, bloody someday.
Even though we weren't a punk band, we came out of punk rock, but we had an idealism. I fell in love with the idea of America. It's a protest movement, civil rights. America is an idea as well as a country.
All rock music is political, you know, just the freedom to express yourself.
We've always wanted to move on. We've always wanted to learn. To me, that's what rock and roll is.
And I think sometimes when we're playing live and you hear people screaming, that they're really screaming for their own lives and what they were going through when they heard those songs.
There's unfinished business for U2. We have stuff that we've got left to do. You know, we're not going away.
But I think it's the desire to make a new record. If you feel that those songs are valid, and then you kind of come out fighting.
We've sold a pile of records and people come to see us play, but I don't think we really believe it. something in us still feel we've got to prove ourselves.
There's a lot of people expect a lot of things from you two, and people will never get what they expect. We're just you two, and we speak, you know, just as we are.
To induct U2, please welcome Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, Bruce Springsteen.
Uno, dos, tres, catorce. That translates as 1, 2, 3, 14. That is the correct math for a rock and roll band. For in art and love and rock and roll, the whole had better equal much more than the sum of its parts, or else you're just rubbing two sticks together in search of a fire. A great rock band searches for the same kind of combustible force that fueled the expansion of the universe after the Big Bang. You want the earth to shake and spit fire. You want the sky to split apart and for God to pour out. It's embarrassing to want so much and expect so much from music, except sometimes it happens. The Sun Sessions, Highway 61, Sgt. Pepper's, The Band, Robert Johnson, Exile on Main Street, Born to Run. Oops, I meant to leave that one out. The Sex Pistols, Aretha Franklin, The Clash, James Brown, and the power of Public Enemies. It takes a nation of millions to hold us back. This was music meant to take on not only the powers that be, but on a good day, the universe and God himself, if he was listening. It demands accountability, and U2 belongs on this list. It was the early 80s. I went with Pete Townsend, always wanted to catch the first whiff of those about to unseat us, to a club in London. There they were, a young Bono, single-handedly pioneering the Irish mullet. The Edge. What kind of name was that? Adam and Larry. I was listening to the last band of whom I would be able to name all of its members. They had an exciting show and a big, beautiful sound. They lifted the roof. We met afterwards, and they were nice young men, and they were Irish. Irish. Now, this would play an enormous part in their success in the States. For while the English occasionally have their refined sensibilities to overcome, we Irish and Italians have no such problem. We come through the door, fists and hearts first. U2, with the dark chiming sound of heaven at their command, which of course is the sound of unrequited love and longing, their greatest theme, their search for God intact. This was a band that wanted to lay claim to not only this world, but had their eyes on the next one too. U2 hungered for it all and built a sound, and they wrote the songs that demanded it. They're the keepers of some of the most beautiful sonic architecture in rock and roll. The Edge, the Edge, the Edge, the Edge. He is a rare and true guitar original, and one of the subtlest guitar heroes of all time. He's dedicated to ensemble playing, and he subsumes his guitar ego in the group. But do not be fooled. Think Jimi Hendrix, Chuck Berry, Neil Young, Pete Townsend, guitarists who define the sound of their band and their times. If you play like them, you sound like them. There are only a handful of guitar stylists who can create a world with their instrument, and he's one of them. The Edge's guitar playing creates enormous space and vast landscapes. It is thrilling and a heartbreaking sound that hangs over you like the unsettled sky. Now, all of this has to be held down by something. The deep sureness of Adam Clayton's bass and the rhythms of Larry Mullen's elegant drumming hold the band down while propelling it forward. It's in U2's great rhythm section that the band finds its sexuality and its dangerousness. Listen to Desire. She moves in mysterious ways, the pulse of With or Without You. Together, Larry and Adam create the element that suggests the ecstatic possibilities of that other kingdom, the one below the earth and below the belt, that no great rock band can lay claim to the title without. Now, Adam always strikes me as the professorial one, the sophisticated member. He creates not only the musical, but the physical stability on his side of the stage. The tone and depth of his bass playing has allowed the band to move from rock to dance music and beyond. Now, Larry, of course, besides being an incredible drummer, bears the burden of being the band's requisite good-looking member. Something we somehow overlooked in the East Street Band. We have to settle for charismatic. The girls love on Larry Mullen. I have a female assistant that would like to sit on Larry's drum stool. A male one, too. We all have our crosses to bear. Bono, where do I begin? Jeans designer, soon to be World Bank operator, just plain operator, seller of the Brooklyn Bridge. Oh no, he played under the Brooklyn Bridge, that's right. Soon to be mastermind of the Bono Burger franchise, where more than 1 billion stories will be told by a crazy Irishman. I realize it's a dirty job and somebody has to do it. But don't quit your day job yet, my friend. You're pretty good at it. And a sound this big needs somebody to ride herd over it. And he's a great front man. Against the odds, he is not your mom's standard skinny ex-junkie archetype. He has the physique of a rugby player, well, an ex-rugby player. Shaman, shyster, one of the greatest and most endearingly naked messianic complexes in rock and roll. God bless you, man. It takes one to know one, of course. You see, every good Irish and Italian-Irish frontman knows that before James Brown, there was Jesus. So hold the McDonald arches on the stage set, boys. We are not ironists. We are creations of the heart and of the earth and of the stations of the cross. There's no getting out of it. He is gifted with an operatic voice and a beautiful falsetto, rare among strong rock singers. But most important, his is a voice shot through with self-doubt. It is this element of Bono's talent, along with his beautiful lyric writing, that gives the often celestial music of U2 its fragility and its realness. Now, the band's beautiful songwriting, Pride in the Name of Love, Sunday Bloody Sunday, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. One, Where the Streets Have No Name, Beautiful Day, remind us of the stakes that the band always plays for. It's an incredible songbook. In their music, you hear the spirituality as home and as quest. How do you find God unless he's in your heart, in your desire, in your feet? I believe this is a big part of what's kept their band together all of these years. See, bands get formed by accident, but they don't survive by accident. It takes will, intent, a sense of shared purpose, and a tolerance for your friends' fallibilities, and they of yours. And that only evens the odds. U2's not only even the odds, but they've beaten them. by continuing to do their finest work and remaining at the top of their game and the charts for 25 years. I feel a great affinity for these guys as people as well as musicians. Well, there I was, sitting on the couch in my pajamas with my eldest son. He was watching TV. I was doing one of my favorite things. I was tallying up all the money I passed up in endorsements over the years and thinking of all the fun I could have had with it. Suddenly I hear uno, dos, tres, catorce. I look up, but instead of the silhouettes of the hippie wannabes bouncing around in the iPod commercial, I see my boys. Oh my God, they've sold out. Now, what I know about the iPod is this. It is a device that plays music. Of course, the new song sounded great. My pals were doing great. Now, personally, I live an insanely expensive lifestyle that my wife barely tolerates. I burn money, and that calls for huge amounts of cash flow. But I also have a ludicrous image of myself that keeps me from truly cashing in. You can see my problem. Woe is me. So the next morning, I call up John Landau, or as I refer to him, the American Paul McGuinness. And I say, did you see that iPod thing? And he says, yes. And he says, and I hear they didn't take any money. And I say, they didn't take any money? And he says, no. I think, smart, wily Irish guys. Anybody can do an ad and take the money. But to do the ad and not take the money, that's smart. That's wily. I tell John, I say, John, I want you to call up Bill Gates or whoever is behind this thing and float this. A red, white, and blue iPod signed by Bruce the Boss Springsteen. And remember, no matter how much money he offers, don't take it. At any rate, after that evening, for the next month or so, I hear emanating from my lovely 14-year-old son's room, day after day, down the hall, calling out in a voice that has recently dropped very low. Uno, dos, tres, catorce. The correct math for rock and roll. Thank you, boys. This band has carried their faith in the great inspirational and resurrective power of rock and roll with them. They've never faltered, only a little bit. They believed in themselves, but more importantly, they believed in you too. Thank you, Bono, Edge, Adam, and Larry. Please welcome you two to the Rock Hall of Fame.
Born in the USA, my arse. That man was born on the north side of Dublin.
He's Irish. His mother was Irish, the poetry, the gift of the gab. Isn't it obvious? In fact, I think he's tall for an Irishman. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a bit of an Irish wedding. Beautiful girls and beautiful frocks. Fights in the bathroom, managers and clients again. Lawyers with bloody noses. It's an Irish wedding. It's a great occasion. And I even like it when it gets dirty. And I've seen it get really dirty over the years here. But rock and roll is the sound of revenge. So make your enemies interesting, I would say, ladies and gentlemen. But not tonight. When we look out into the audience, we don't see any enemies. We just see friends. And this country has taken this band into its bosom all the way from the very beginning. Thank you. It's an amazing thing. Franco Barsalona early on. There's a great friend, Irish friend. Chris Blackwell. What an incredible man he was to have looking after you. And I just, you know, can you imagine your second album, the difficult second album, it's about God. And everyone is tearing their hair out. And Chris Blackwell goes, you know, it's okay. It's Bob Marley and Marvin Gaye. It's Bob Dylan. It's kind of a tradition. We can get through this. And I think about what Frank Barsalona said earlier about long-term vision. Because, you know, without Frank Barsalona and Barbara Skydell, and that kind of long-term vision of Chris Blackwell, there would be no U2 after that second album. We would have been dropped. No Beautiful Day, no Sunday Bloody Sunday, no Unforgettable Fire, no One, no Where the Streets Have No Name, no With or Without You. And that's the thing I want to take away from tonight. I would like to ask the music business to look at itself and ask itself some hard questions out of tonight. Because there would be no U2 the way things are right now. That's a fact. Only friends out there. We're still. Rolling Stone puts us on the cover of their magazine. Thank you very much, Sean. MTV and VH1 still play our videos. College radio still believes in our band and makes our band believe in ourselves. It's an amazing place to be inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, feeling like this, feeling like you've just put out your first album.
Seen you quite a while. I was down the hole just killing time. Last time we met was a low-lit room. We were as close together as a bride and a groom. Took the name, took the wine. Everybody having a good time. Said you were talking about the end of the world. I took the money, I seemed to so miss too much these days. If you stop to think, you turn me on with those innocent eyes. You know I love the elements of surprise. In the garden, I was playing the guitar. You kissed my lips, broke my heart. You were acting like it's the end of the world.
sorrows, they learn to swim. Surrounding me, going down on me, spilling over the brim. Waves of regret, waves of joy. I reached out to the one I tried to destroy. You said you'd wait till the end of the world. The end of the world.
Coming up on the 2005 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony, U2 give a once-in-a-lifetime performance with Bruce Springsteen.
Above all else, what U2 have tried to avoid over the last 25 years is not being completely crap.
Lots of bodyguards around here. No bigger bodyguard than Jimmy and Doug. Jimmy Iovine and Doug Morris have continued in the tradition of Chris Blackwell, which is letting us get away with pretty much everything we want. So I want to thank them very much. The biggest bodyguard of all has got to be our manager, Paul McGuinness, sitting right there. The reason why no one in this band has slave scrawled on their face. Paul McGuinness, thank you very much. I won't go on, but just 3 Kodak moments over 25 years I'd like to share with you. One, it's 1976, Larry Mullen's kitchen. It's about the size of the drum riser he uses now. It's a big, bright red, scarlet, really, Japanese kit. And he's sitting behind it in his kitchen. And he's playing, and the ground shakes. And the sky opens up, like Bruce was saying earlier. And it still does. But now I know why. I know why, because Larry Mullen cannot tell a lie. And his brutal honesty is something that we need in this band. Second Kodak moment. I think it's 1982, New Haven, I believe. Things are not going very well. There's a punk rock band on stage trying to play Bach. A fight breaks out. It's between the band. It's very, very messy. Now you look at this guitar genius. You look at this Zen-like master that is the Edge. And you hear those brittle, icy notes. And you might be forgiven for not realizing that you cannot play like that unless you have a rage inside you. And in fact, I had forgotten that on that particular night, and he tried to break my nose. And I learned a very great lesson. Do not pick a fight with somebody who for a living lives off hand-to-eye coordination. Not a good idea. Dangerous, dangerous man, the Edge. Third Kodak moment, 1987, somewhere in the South. We've been campaigning for Dr. King, for
his birthday to be a national holiday. And in Arizona, they're saying no. We've been campaigning very, very hard for Dr. King. Some people don't like it. Some people get very annoyed. Some people want to kill the singer. Some people are taken very seriously by the FBI, and they tell the singer that he shouldn't play the gig because tonight his life is at risk and he must not go on stage. The singer laughs. The singer laughs. You know, of course we're playing the gig, of course we go on stage, and I'm standing there, singing Pride in the Name of Love, and I've got to the third verse. I've closed my eyes, and I know I'm excited about meeting my maker. But maybe not tonight. I don't really want to meet my maker tonight. I close my eyes, and when I look up, I see Adam Clayton standing in front of me, holding his bass like only Adam Clayton can hold his bass. And you know, there's people in this room who tell you they'd take a bullet for you, but Adam Clayton would have taken a bullet for me. And I guess that's what it's like to be in a truly great rock and roll band. I know Chrissy Hine knows what that means.
Rings out in Memphis sky. Free at last, they took your life, they could not take your pride. In the name of love, one more in the name of love. In the name of love, one more in the name of love. Mercy for you.
Above all else, what you two have tried to avoid over the last 25 years is not being completely crap. But next on the list, down from that, was to avoid being typical, predictable, and ordinary, because it's so very hard to avoid the cliches. Everyone else's, of course, but most of all your own. It's so hard to keep things fresh and not to become a parody of yourself. And if you've ever seen that movie Spinal Tap, you will know how easy it is to parody what we all do. The first time I ever saw it, I didn't laugh. I wept. I wept because I recognized so much in so many of those scenes. I don't think I'm alone amongst all of us here in that. You know, we're all guilty of taking ourselves and our work way too seriously. We have all gone to hang out in the hotel lobby like we were doing something really important. But the reason we're all here tonight is that in spite of all the cliches which do exist, you know, rock and roll, when it is great, it is amazing. It changes your life. It changed our lives. Witness, for instance, tonight, the OJs, Percy Sledge, Bo Diddley, Eric Clapton, Buddy Guy, B.B. King, The Pretenders. I mean, really magic stuff. You can break it down, you can study it all you want, but you cannot just dial it up. It doesn't work like that. And as far as U2 goes, I've stopped trying to figure out how, or more importantly, when our best moments are going to come along. But I think that's why we're still awake, and that's why we're still paying attention. And we know in the end, you see, we know that it is magic. And so we end up waiting around, just like they did in that Spinal Tap movie, in the lobby, waiting with Bono, with Adam and Larry and Paul for those moments to come along. So I just want to say thank you to my family for being so patient, my mum and dad for showing me how, the rest of the band particularly, and tonight, you know, for all of you, for this evening. And most of all for, I guess, making space for me as we all wait together for something magic to happen. Thank you.
I have climbed the highest mountains. I have run through the fields only to be with you. Only to be with you. I have run, I have crawled, and I have scaled these city walls. To be with you, but I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Ali, Jojo, I have kissed honey lips, felt the healing in her fingertips, burning like a fire. I was burning inside her. I have spoken with the tongue of angels, and I have held the hand of a devil. It was warm in the night. I was cold as a stone. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the boss. Bruce? I believe in the kingdom come, and all the colors will bleed into one, bleed into one. But yeah, I'm still running. You broke the bonds and you lose the chains. You carry the cross of my shame, of my shame. You know I believe it, but I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. No, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. No, I still haven't found what I'm looking for.
Thank you very much.
The 2005 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony is brought to you by Diet Pepsi. Light, crisp, refreshing. and by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Up next, an encore from the latest Hall of Fame inductees, U2.
We have about 35 songs to play. It won't be long.
25 years ago, we released our first recording. That means 29 years ago, we all met and formed our band. 30 years ago, I got my first bass guitar, or as I thought, a guitar with only 4 strings. I had no idea what bass was. I had not heard of James Jamerson, Duck Dunn, Jack Bruce, John Entwistle, or Bootsy Collins. I just knew I had a weapon and a shield to take on the world. When we all got together in Larry's kitchen, we didn't know about the great traditions of American music. We didn't know the blues or soul or R&B or country. But we did know that together we had a chance to change the world by making a noise. This was punk, and it saved my ass. We met Paul McGuinness and he became our manager. Next we needed a record deal. We were turned down by many people until Nick Stewart offered us a deal at Island Records. As we were learning all this stuff about the music business, we were also learning about American music and the kind of artists that are honored here by the Hall of Fame. Now a generation is being inducted, and our time has come to join those that we did not know 25 years ago. It took many people to get this band here tonight, but in the end, the people who I must thank for everything I have are Ali, Anne, Morley, Susie, Larry, Edge and Bono.
Thanks for this tonight. We really appreciate it. It's very special. I feel like we've cut the line or jumped the queue along the way, someplace along the way. And we would never have got out of my kitchen in Artane, in Dublin, had it not been for people like the Sex Pistols, Tom Verlaine Television, Roxy Music, and Patti Smith. These people are in our Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Coming up, a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 20th anniversary performance by legends Bo Diddley and Jerry Lee Lewis.
20 years ago, I received my Rock and Roll Award right here in this same hall.
Yes, Jerry Lee, yes!
The 2005 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony is brought to you by Pantene Pro V. That's the beauty of health. And by Toyota. Choose any direction as long as it's moving forward.
For this 20th anniversary celebration and for the 50th anniversary of when some of those first records came out by Elvis and Chuck Berry and Little Richard. And a lot of rock and roll was about breaking the rules, and nobody broke them harder, faster, and more often than the killer himself. He shocked the world, he rocked the world. Ladies and gentlemen, a one-man revolution, Jerry Lee Lewis.
Okay. Come on over, baby. Whole lot of shaking going on. I said, come on over, baby. It really can't be that wrong. I ain't begging. Whole lot of shaking going on. Woo, come on over, baby. We got chicken in the barn. Yeah, come on over, Mama. Jerry Lee got the blood by the horn. I ain't begging. A whole lot of shaking going on. Real of this shaking, baby, shaking. Shaking, baby, shaking. Shaking, baby, shaking. Come on over. Whole lot of shaking going on. Go one time, baby. Come on over, baby. We got chicken in the barn. Who's born? Was born? My barn. Hey, girl, I got the moon by the horn. I ain't begging. A whole lot of shaking going on. Easy, baby, shake it. Take it from me, baby. All you got to do, honey, just stand it in one little old spot. You don't have to get down too low. Then you wiggle it around just a little bit. And they tell me that's when you got something. If you ain't got something, well, then you ain't gonna get nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to be here. 20 years ago, I received my Rock and Roll Award right here in this same hall. And God has blessed me to be around again. And I'm just as happy as a jaybird. Woo! Well, I don't know nothing else to say. We might well go ahead and just get on with it. Let's rock and roll one time. Well, shake it, baby, shake it. Shake it, baby, shake it. Shake it, baby, shake it. Oh, shake it, baby, shake it. Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Shake it, baby, shake it. Shake it, baby, shake it. Ooh, shake it, baby, shake it. Little bit, baby.
everyone from Buddy Holly to Eric Clapton to the band to Motown to U2 have all built songs on this famous beat. It's called the Bo Diddley beat. The song is called Bo Diddley, and the man is called a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer and one of the founding fathers of rock and roll. Ladies and gentlemen, Bo Diddley.
She ain't home. Hey, Bo Diddley. Hey, Bo Diddley. Hey, Bo Diddley. Hey, Bo shine.